Hi everybody, it's Andrew here for Tutorial Soup. First of all, I just want to take just a few seconds to say I'm really sorry for not being here for a long time, not continuing the tutorials. I realise it's been probably half a year since I last did a tutorial. There have been reasons, many of them probably mostly trivial. There's no real excuses, so I'd just like to say sorry to everyone for having to wait for so long. But now, I think the best thing is probably to get on with the tutorial. This is tutorial 17, I think. We roughly, the last time we left it, so long ago now I can't even think what was happening, but we left it with a basic little ship that we could click on the canvas and it would go up and down. What I kind of want to do is create some kind of obstacles, make the game actually playable. So in order to do that, generally in space there's asteroids, so we're going to create some asteroids. So if I open up the folder, you will notice there's something slightly different in here, and it's a picture, a very basic picture of an asteroid, which I coincidentally made in Paint, which is the basic paint package that everyone gets with their computer. Saved it as a PNG. What I'm going to do, I mean, you can create any picture you want and then just use it in the same way, but I can actually, I now actually have a website up and running. I will give you details of that underneath the video, and hopefully after the video, well actually after the video I'll have it up on the website ready for download, as well as the ship image that I promised you could download ages ago but didn't provide a link. I can only apologise. So anyway, you can choose any image if you want, but I'll be making this available for download, so don't worry about that. So right, now we have the image in here. We're going to do a few things first. We are going to create a few variables. So we're going to have a asteroids array. In fact, I'll call it an array just to make it more simple. We are going to have the number of asteroids, which is going to track how many asteroids we have available to us. And we are going to have an asteroid image. So we have those three variables that we have created. Now we're not only going to create these variables here, we're actually going to create another object like we did with the stars, which I called shapes, and the spaceship. I'm going to create a asteroid, so we're going to call this asteroid. It's going to equal a function. All this we've done before, so it should be fairly straightforward. Oh, sorry. X, Y, width, height, and it's going to have a velocity x. We're not going to worry about a y velocity, because the asteroids aren't going to go up and down, they're just going to go across the screen. So, God, there we go. This dot x equals x, this dot y equals y, this dot equals width, this dot height equals vx. Most of you will probably copy and paste this, but I think it's good practice to type it out. Although the main adage in the programming world is to why do you have to write things over and use copy and paste or reuse methods and things like that. But when it comes to learning how to program or learning how to make something, I think it's good to. I think repetition is good, so I think it helps to repeat the same thing over and over again. It tends to with me. If you're first starting out, it tends to help. I think repetition anyway, I'll stop babbling now, and I think I will get on. So now we've created the object, we now want to initiate a few of the variables, or initiate an array, and give some values to some of the variables we created. So we are, first of all, I'm going to just check that this still works. Good. A little thing you might want to do when you're doing code is just to refresh the screen sometimes, just to see that there's no errors, because if this stopped, if this wasn't working, and I literally just changed, what did I do? I added an object. You'll know that the last thing you changed was probably the thing that affected it. So rather than writing out all the code and then checking it at the end, it's good to write a bit of code and then just refresh it, just a little idea you might like. Save you going back over lots of codes, then it helps you, it just basically helps you keep track of perhaps where your errors were. Right, let's get on. So we're going to say, yeah, number of asteroids equals 5, so we're going to create 5 asteroids. We're going to say asteroid array equals array, equals new array. Much like we did with the shapes array, you don't actually have to call it an array. I could have just called it asteroids. Sorry, I think our variable is called asteroids array. Yep. Yeah, you don't have to put array on the end of this, so I could just as easily put asteroids and call it the asteroids in the array. But just for now, just to make it clear that that is an array, I'm going to call it asteroids array. So now we've made this variable into an array. We've given the number of asteroids, or number of asteroid. Perhaps I'll call this asteroids, that'd make more sense. So I've given the number of asteroids variable value of 5, and now I just need to give this, make this into, or make it reference an image file like we did with the ship. So I'm going to say asteroid image equals new image, and asteroid image dot source equals the asteroid PNG we have in our folder here. So that should reference that. Let's just check this is still working, and it's not, so I've done something wrong somewhere. Yep, I didn't put a capital A for array, so hopefully that's sorted out. Yep, there you go. That's an example of how that works, which is, it's good to check as you go along. So number of asteroids. Right, now we're given now that variable references a new image, or it references an asteroid image. So now we've created the objects, and the variables and the image for the asteroid. We want to, much like we did with the shapes, we want to create. We actually want to load the array with some information. So now we're going to put for I equals 0, I is less than number of asteroids, I plus. Now we're going to say, much like above for the shapes, we're going to put math.random, let's say canvas width variable y equals canvas height. We're going to give it a width as well, so we're going to say width equals we'll say 20. Height is 20 as well, so we want it to be pretty much squared, so it's asteroids will pretty much look like that, I guess. Shows how much I know about asteroids really, but I'm guessing all asteroids are 20 by 20. I'm also going to give it the x, velocity x, which is going to be -2 because they want to be moving slower than the stars. So if I give it a -2 rather than a -4, that should be quite good. So asteroids, we want to push these objects into, or we want to push some objects with this data into the asteroid array. So, or asteroids array. Yeah, asteroids array. So asteroids array dot push new asteroid x, y width, height, and velocity x. Just checking that this is still working. No, I have made another mistake. Surely me. Oh, maybe it's because I put a full stop there instead of a comma. No, there's another one. Let's have a look. Asteroids equals 5. Come on, see you can spot this before me. There's an S missing from canvas height. Hopefully, yay, that's it. See, a lot of the time, if you ever kind of get annoyed and take ages to find something, it's usually always something really simple like that, and it's and I think if you take the approach of testing it after each like little thing you do, I think it's going to be at the early stages anyway of your program, it's going to make things a lot easier because you're going to get less stressed out. So now we have created that. We've created the data that's going to be associated with the asteroids. So now we are going to create. We actually want to draw the asteroid to the screen and move it. So I'm going to do is I'm going to come underneath this here, and I'm going to create another for loop, much like we did before. Ooh. Variable I equals 0. Variable I is less. Oh, actually, first, much like what I did up here, I want to make a reference, another variable that's going to reference our array. So, asteroids length equals asteroids dot length. So this variable is also going to make a copy of the data that's in our array, or it's going to create a copy of the reference to the array, I think. So we're going to use this to reference the array within our for loop. So I'm going to say for variable I is less than asteroids length I plus plus. So if you want to sometimes call this J instead of I, you can. You don't have to call it I. In fact, I'll make this J just to show you that you don't have to have an I in the for loop up here. So I'm going to put that as J instead. So yeah, so I'll just spot the problem actually. Variable, why did I put another var in there? I didn't need to do that. What I did need is to put that semicolon there, so make sure that's alright. So now we've said the variable j equals, so this is just, we all know what this does. So let's just make sure this works. No, it doesn't. What have I done wrong? Asteroids length, so j is less than variable j equals 0. Asteroids length equals asteroids dot length. Is that right? Oh, sorry, I should be calling it an asteroids array, shouldn't I? That's why it didn't work. Yeah, right. So sorry about that. Now if we now say make another variable called temp asteroid, much like we did with the temp shape up here. So temp shape, sorry, like we did here, I should say. So we're going to create this variable that references each element in the array based on the based on the iteration here, but it's going to be j in this one. So we're going to say a temp asteroid is going to equal asteroids array j. So instead of calling it I for iteration, we call it j, just to show that it doesn't have to be an I, it can be anything. Now, and we're going to call the draw image, and we're going to say, it's not going to be a capital D, this image here, we're going to say is going to go in, where am I? There we are. So asteroid image is going to go in here. Temp asteroid dot x is here. Asteroid dot y. Asteroid dot width. Temp asteroid dot height. So that's going to draw the PNG to the screen, which we hold in the asteroid image variable. And let's just actually refresh this. Yeah, as you can see, it's drawn them to screen, and as you refresh them, it actually randomizes them as well. But what we actually want to do is we want them to actually move. So if you can remember from the last time, it's just a simple case of basically just iterating the x coordinate. So temp asteroid dot x plus equals temp asteroid dot bx. So if I save this and play, do you now see they actually move, much like the stars? So that's pretty cool. But what we actually want them to do is, first of all, when they're created, we want them to be off screen. So if we go back up to where we set the data for the variables, we actually, the x-axis, when it first starts off, we want them to be drawn off the canvas. So what we could do, we could say we could actually, I think, put canvas width here plus math.random canvas width. So I think this might work. Let's try this. So yeah, as you can see, they're always going to be drawn off the canvas, off the canvas width, but then they're also, once they're drawn at canvas width, they're going to then be randomized at another canvas width, if that makes sense. So it's going to say canvas width. If I pull this out, the first x-axis is going to be here, and then it's going to be randomized. Then it's going to be random another width here. Sorry if that was if that's confusing, then just tell me. But I'll try and explain it better. But anyway, if we put canvas width here, then they're always going to be drawn off the canvas, so they won't be randomized on the canvas here. Right, now we've done that, What else do we need to do? Right, now we have the asteroids moving from right to left off the screen. What we kind of need to do now is, as you'll see, once they move off the screen, they don't actually, they move off the screen, but they don't reappear on the right hand side. So what we're going to do, rather than keep creating more and more asteroids, we're going to recycle them. So what we're going to do, we're going to take one of these asteroids, when it moves off the screen, we're going to make it disappear and then reappear over here and then come back on the screen at a random position. So in order to do that, it's quite simple. We're going to go onto here, much like we did with the temp shapes, as you remember last time. We're going to say if temp asteroid.x plus temp asteroid.width is less than 0. We are going to say, much like we did before when we initiated the initiate the object's data, we're going to say temp asteroid.x equals math.random canvas width, but we actually said to put it off the canvas first and then math random.canvas width. Also asteroid.x equals canvas, no capital, canvas height. No, I've done it wrong, haven't I? Sorry, math.random canvas height. I'll learn how to spell. So yeah, so that should, if we refresh it. Now if we wait, when they go off the left hand side screen, there you go, they should appear in a new location coming from the right. There you go, that's pretty cool, isn't it? So so there you have it, some asteroids. We have asteroids going off from the left and appearing on the right. And remember, because they're taking a little time sometimes, because they're going to be randomized on the scale of another whole canvas, so they're going to seem to appear at completely different places. By the way, this blue, that annoying blue highlight effect, I will show you how to get rid of that. It's quite easy to get rid of. I'll show you how to get rid of that in the next tutorial. And I'll also introduce some collision detection with the asteroids, so that you'll die if you hit the asteroids. Right, this has taken quite a long time. This is quite a long tutorial, so I'm going to cut it there, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, thank you, bye.